Coming up on the Having It All Show, Episode 8, How You Can Live an International Lifestyle.
Welcome to Having It All, Lifestyles of the Rich and Conscious with MarBeth Dunn, featuring experts and pioneers in health, wealth, relationships, and spirituality, creating a happier, healthier, wealthier you.
Welcome to the Having It All Show, Lifestyles of the Rich and Conscious. I'm your host, MarBeth Dunn, empath, intuitive, coach, mentor, best-selling author, and creator of the Spiritual Wealth Activation System, a step-by-step process to create miracles and abundance. If you're a frequent listener, thank you for subscribing to our show. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. If you like what you hear, please join us weekly by subscribing to the show. Visit TheHavingItAllShow.com/ITC, then click the blue View in iTunes button to subscribe. Coming up on the Having It All Show, Tina Dietz, founder of the Start Something Movement and host of the Start Something Show. Tina and her family live internationally, and they are currently based in Costa Rica, Florida, and New York. Tina, I'm so thrilled to have you on the show.
Oh, it's great to talk with you, MarBeth.
We have a good connection. We have known each other for a few years now. And one of the things that really inspires me about you is how you've been able to juggle your business and your family while living an international lifestyle. Would you like to share what it's like to raise kids and take advantage of this international lifestyle?
It's been an incredible journey, and it continues to unfold. And I love it when you asked me to be on your show, and I said, "What's the name of the show?" And you're like, "It's about having it all." I was like, "Oh, perfect!" I'm constantly in that conversation.
Yes, you are.
how to have it all without having to do it all, right? And To kind of back up on how this all happened, one of the things that I do with my clients are these 5-year strategic vision plans that are really about your life as well as your business, bringing your dreams into reality. And in my own plan, we had Costa Rica as a place we wanted to live. We wanted to be able to live a mobile lifestyle and take our kids and explore different cultures and have that time and money freedom that was, those words get bantered around a lot. Well, at the 3-year mark, we were in the process of selling our home and decided to, instead of staying local, we realized that my husband had shifted into doing remote work with the company he was working with. I've always been remote with what I do. And we said, well, why don't we do Costa Rica? And one phone call later to a friend in Costa Rica, he connected me with a bunch of people, and all of a sudden, within a week, the plans were made, and we went, and we had never been there before.
Wow. Now, you talk about going on faith.
Yes. Yeah. Well, faith and research.
Oh, okay.
A little bit of both. Yeah.
So what was that like, moving to a new country? Do you speak Spanish?
I speak a little bit of Spanish. It took several years in high school, but fortunately, folks from Costa Rica are some of the nicest and most accommodating human beings on the planet. It is just a beautiful culture, wonderful people, and I have fantastic friends in Costa Rica, both who are Costa Rican and European and American. And the great thing about doing that kind of a move and moving into that situation is that all the people that you meet, especially the folks from the U.S., Canada, et cetera, it's almost like a little bit of summer camp kind of feeling, because everyone is there kind of by choice, and everyone had to do something to get there. So everyone's very interested in learning about each other, and you make these deep connections quite quickly that last, even though everybody is mobile and people tend to move from place to place, you're still being connected through email and social media. And that whole dream of having the global village, this is where I really see it happening.
Oh, wonderful. So you spend part of your time in Costa Rica, part of your time in Florida, and part of your time in New York?
Yeah, we do split things up. Right now, it's quite fluid. We've experimented with several different ways of schooling with the kids. Now, fortunately, my kids have been very cool and very flexible in everything we're doing, which we create intentionally a lot of excitement. We include our kids in as much as possible in what we're doing and seeing what their interests are, what their concerns are, what they really want to get out of the experience, and also what's important to them. For example, my daughter, social interaction is extremely important to her, and she's 8 now. And she's a social butterfly. So we have found that even though we can homeschool our kids, it works better for our daughter if we make sure that if we're homeschooling, there's a lot of social interaction available to her, or that she's actually inside of a school, even if it's an international school or a bilingual school, because that aspect is so important to her. My son, on the other hand, is much more self-contained. What's really important to him is having a variety of experiences and being able to not have to have a routine all the time, even though he needs some structure, obviously. So it's been really interesting to get to know our kids on that level as people and have them give us feedback about what works and doesn't work. But at the same time, like I say, they've been pretty cool about the whole thing.
So do you find that there is more opportunity for them living that type of lifestyle? Are they learning Spanish?
They have started learning Spanish. When we were in Costa Rica, we started learning on our own and then realized very quickly that, why would you do that when you're living in a country full of native Spanish speakers? And we still have a wonderful relationship with one of our neighbors, a lovely woman named Shirley, who we connected with. And she was teaching the kids Spanish a couple of times a week, and also doing some childcare for us off and on. And it was just the most wonderful. We were kind of adopted by her and her family. And when families start to take you in when you're in Costa Rica, that's when you can walk down the street and people know you and you've never met them before, because folks talk about each other, and family is very, very important. And I love being inside of that.
Well, I lived in Haiti many years ago. And I lived there for many years. I lived there for 17 years. And I found that there's an amazing cultural expansion. You have a different view of life back home. You've stepped out of the system a little bit, and now you're expanding your horizons. Have you noticed that as well?
Yes, absolutely. There's a big difference between learning about a volcano in a book and actually seeing a live volcano in front of your face. It really changes your perspective of the world. And for my kids, when we've talked about what they've seen and what they've experienced, they kind of take it in stride, but they've started to find it funny that other kids that they meet in the U.S. haven't had the same experiences, haven't, seen howler monkeys in the wild, or haven't, done the kind of travel. And it's just now, they're 8 and 10, that they're starting to notice that there's a difference between the experience that they've had and how easy it is for them to navigate culturally, like to be inside of a market, to go up and ask something as simple as independently asking for a glass of water in Spanish at a store, at a cafe, and those kind of independent skills that I think, ultimately I know will really serve them throughout their lives. They're very confident in that wherever they are, they can make a home for themselves, that they have a place. They don't feel foreign.
Oh, I love that. I remember when we moved back to the States, we moved to New Mexico, and my girls had traveled quite a bit, and the other children were very provincial. They I think the furthest they may have gotten was Denver or Albuquerque. And there was definitely a difference. The kids were both more confident. And so I think it's a wonderful thing that you're doing for your family. What a blessing to be able to share this intercultural experience. We'll be back to our show in just a moment. Would you agree that the current state of the world is angry, chaotic, turbulent, and possibly insane. And that's not even mentioning everyone's personal issues. We all need miracles, and now is the time. I'm MarBeth Dunn, the Miracle Mama. Imagine a river of miracles flowing into your life, bringing harmonious relationships, better health, prosperity, clarity, peace of mind, and a deep sense of joy. What if you could know all your needs are being met and feel calm and peaceful even in the midst of turbulent change? Get your free guide now, 7 Easy Ways to Harness the Power of Miracles at miracles101.com. That's miracles101.com, and live your miraculous life. So now, what do you do when you move back to the States? Does that feel a little awkward?
It can. It can. The first time we did it, when we came back, I think was the biggest shock. And the biggest shock inside of that, besides suddenly driving on roads that were flat and straight instead of mountain roads, was the number of choices. The number of choices in North America, in the U.S. and in Canada, and I would imagine there's some similarities in Europe, was overwhelming. Like, even walking into a huge grocery store the first time when I came back after being away, it was only for several months. I remember standing in the front of the store, listening to the noise and watching the bustle and thinking, there are too many choices. The sheer abundance is incredible. And I have this enormous gratitude for that. And at the same time, compared to the rest of the world, we take it so for granted here in the U.S. that you can get anything you want at your fingertips at any time. And I was actually uncomfortable with that there were 15 kinds of peanut butter instead of one. It's like, this is too much to think about. I like it. It was kind of nice to not have to think about all those little tiny decisions, and the level of stimulation in the U.S. is much, much higher than places like Costa Rica.
Yes, I would imagine that. I haven't been to Costa Rica yet, although I'm planning to shortly. From the pictures that I've seen, it reminds me of the mountains in Haiti, where there's very rural, you have the dirt roads, and you have very open, loving people that are just a joy to be around.
Exactly. It really does become so much about the relationships. We found that in Costa Rica, as we got to know people, we found ourselves hanging out a lot. We weren't running around all the time. We'd spend long, slow dinners together, and we'd talk for hours about all kinds of things. And here in the States, that's quite unusual.
It's definitely unusual. I find that life is speeding up in the States. There's just so much to do.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about your business, Tina.
Oh gosh, I love working with people who are up to changing things in their lives and businesses. And that's why I called it the company Start Something. I've had this mission for a long time now, many years, to ignite 10,000 thriving businesses. And business for me is the access point to help people create the lives they really want to lead. I come from an entrepreneurial background, many years, as well as being a therapist. And small business owners are so ready to make changes. And because I come from both the internal and external sides of building a business, it's my pleasure to really guide people through the steps of the dance of transition, the transition of starting a business, the transition of growing a business, or even going from being a solo entrepreneur to having a team, or going from local to international. All those steps where you might feel tentative. I'm here to help people through that process successfully and really make the most of those opportunities.
That's wonderful. That's really wonderful, Tina. So what would you suggest for someone who is interested in an international lifestyle? What would you suggest for them to do?
Well, the first thing I always have everybody do is to create their perfect day. And, I know you do a lot of this would totally resonate with this, MarBeth, because you and I both know that change always comes from the inside. and not from the outside. So to get clear on what your vision is that you want for your future, what's important to you, not necessarily the facts and the figures, but the feeling of it. And I have a whole exercise that people can walk through for this if they want to download it. I love giving this away. And then from that vision, start to explore, start to connect with other like-minded people. There are tons of families, there's tons of people who are living mobile lifestyles. Facebook has a lot of groups on the topic, as a matter of fact. Twitter has tweet chats about it. So start to experiment and reach out and see what other people are doing, because that's what gave us the biggest access to not having such a strong learning curve. It was all these groups of people who are already doing it, living abroad, living with families, who have walked the path, and now they want to pay it forward.
Ooh, I love that. I hadn't thought about that, but I'm definitely going to be checking that one out. Although my kids are grown, I love living overseas. Truthfully, it's exciting.
There's lots of people doing it now. Yeah.
Oh, I know. And so, do you have anything special you'd like to share with our listeners today?
I do have something I'd like to share. I have a tool that I use with all of my clients, but you don't even have to be in business to use it. Something that's been very helpful for me, as well as my clients, is to have a way to move through difficult decision making quickly and to get out of the spaces of drama that we created in our lives quickly. So I took this very specific tool that I use and wrote it up into a book called Solve Any Problem in 10 Minutes, which I know is a very lofty claim, but you can download this ebook. It has a wonderful assessment in it, and it has a wonderful set of tools in it that you can use to start moving through just making decisions powerfully and quickly so that you can gain momentum in any change that you want to be making in your life or business right away. And also, after you download the book, a few days after it, you'll also get the perfect day exercise, which I would be thrilled is after you do your perfect day if you would share it with me.
I remember your perfect day exercise, and I thought it was fabulous.
Thank you.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. Well, you are an amazing, amazing person. So,
well, back at you, girlfriend.
I'm blessed to know you personally, and so I'm not just making a blanket statement.
Oh, thank you, my dear. It's always such a pleasure. You do such phenomenal work in this world.
Oh, well, thank you. We have a mutual admiration society. Well, thank you so much, Tina Dietz, for being on the Having It All show. What an exciting lifestyle you lead. Oh, my goodness.
Thank you, my dear.
To learn more about Tina Dietz, visit her show page on TheHavingItAllShow.com. There you can connect with her on social media and find her information to download your free gifts on her website. Be sure to visit TheHavingItAllShow.com and download your free guide, 5 Steps to Wealth and Wellness and the Pitfalls to Avoid. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to The Having It All Show and never miss an episode. You can visit TheHavingItAllShow.com, and there in the banner on the top of the page, you'll see a red subscribe for free on iTunes button. On the show pages, you can also listen through the Stitcher app, and if you're using an iPhone, click TheHavingItAllShow.com/ITC, where you can easily subscribe. And if you love us, please rate and review as well. That's our show. We'll see you next week.
Join MarBeth next week on The Having It All Show, Lifestyles of the Rich and Conscious. Visit TheHavingItAllShow.com now to learn more about MarBeth and her special guests and download your free report.